What's up, nerds? This is the Really Sophisticated Podcast, and I am your host, John Carter. I'm riding solo today, guys, because this is a very special episode. That's right, it's the pilot episode. We're going to make it quick. That way I can get you out of here. I know you've got better things to do with your time than to listen to some nobody talk about how he and his friends are going to have a vocal circle jerk about sports on the internet. The goal is to shoot for a 30-minute podcast. You know, we can always expand from there, but to start off with, I think 30 minutes is a good number. Kind of gives us some time to experiment with some things before we start working with longer form content. And we're going to shoot for a weekly release, Mondays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Central. Sometimes I'll be hosting solo just like today, and other times I'll have a guest co-host. Who knows, maybe one day we'll find a permanent co-host. We've got to figure out some scheduling conflicts and stuff like that, but again, this podcast is going to be ever evolving, especially right now. And I'm sure you're probably asking yourself, why would I listen to your podcast when there's so many other great podcasts out there, like Pat McAfee, or the New Heights podcast with the Kelsey brothers, the Absolute podcast, blah, 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 blah. Well, for starters, those guys are professional sports personalities. They're either professional athletes, former athletes, or somehow they've entangled themselves in the professional sports business. We're not that. You're going to be able to tell very quickly that we are not that. This is going to be a bunch of amateurs, guys who played sports through high school or are just avid sports fans now as adults, talking about sports and how they've impacted their lives. We're not the small percentage of adults who continue to play sports past their prime, chasing childhood dreams. You know who those people are. Hashtag church softball leagues. Yeah, we're calling you out. No, instead, we're going to focus on the impact that sports have had on our lives, either as athletes or as fans. We're going to talk about current events, both on and off the field. We're going to relate that to fantasy sports, sports collecting. I'm a huge sports card collector, aka man-child. Deal with it. We're going to talk about the gaming industry, Madden, MLB The Show, 2K, things like that. But the number one thing that we're going to talk about on this podcast are our personal lives. Now, I'm not talking about all the weird shit that our wives make us do on the weekends because they tell us to. I love you, babe. No, instead, we're going to talk about how sports have either impacted our lives or how we can relate our lives to things in the sports industry. Now that we've got all the fun shit out of the way, let's talk about all the fucking boring shit. Yeah, that's right. Now's the time that I'm going to give you guys a little introduction about myself. I mean, as your host, I feel like we should get to know each other. And sure, it's a little one-sided and probably a little bit cringy, but after today's episode, hopefully you'll have all the background you need to know about yours truly. I'm a 30-year-old father of 2 girls, and I'm learning very, very fast that introducing sports to kids is a full-time job. Just the other week, we watched the Toy Story game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Atlanta Falcons, and my girls could not stop talking about it that entire week. Yet, I cannot get them to play 3 innings worth of t-ball on any given Saturday in the springtime. My favorite teams are the St. Louis Cardinals, the Indianapolis Colts, and the University of Kentucky Wildcats. I also like watching hockey. I love the Nashville Predators. Don't watch too much NBA, but when I do, I root for the Indiana Pacers. And I'm really enjoying the XFL, St. Louis Battlehawks. Yeah, call is the law, guys. Call is the fucking law. I played sports all the way through high school. Played baseball all the way up until the 8th grade. Had to quit playing baseball to play football because conflicts between spring training camp, summer training camp, blah, 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 blah. So I decided to play football. I didn't get any offers from college, and our team sucked anyway, but is what it is. I played basketball in elementary school, but that doesn't really count because 1, I'm just not built for basketball. I'm all torso and no legs. And 2, just imagine a bunch of country hicks playing basketball at, ages 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it looks more like a Shriners Circus than it really does a basketball game. I did play club rugby in college. That was pretty fun, but I really didn't give college much of a try on the first go around, so I joined the Army. Spent 5 years in the service, got stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington. I went to a lot of Mariners games, got to watch guys like Ichiro. I got to watch them play other teams with guys like Barry Bonds. I was there when he hit home run number 718, which was fantastic. But more importantly, sports helped get me through 2 deployments. I used to watch sports all the time on AFN, which is the Armed Forces Network. It's basically just like pirated TV, if you will. For the most part, it really is. There's no commercials. What commercials they have are cheesy little PowerPoints or some kind of homebrewed commercial about, remembering to clear your magazine before you go into the chow hall, that kind of stuff. But I did get to watch the Colts win Super Bowl 41, which was a highlight of my first deployment. Growing up, I was in Boy Scouts before they got wrapped up in the media attention for all the negativity that was going on. If you know, you know. Really don't want to talk about that. I achieved the rank of Eagle Scout, which is kind of a top honor, but more importantly, I really developed an appreciation for being outdoors, being active, that kind of stuff. Would go on backpacking trips all over the country to places like New Mexico, Tennessee, would hike land between the lakes, Kentucky. We would go on canoe trips, camping trips, stuff like that. So yeah, really gained an appreciation for the outdoors. But as time went on and as I got older, I became less and less of an outdoor person and more of an indoor person, especially now that I have kids. But because of that, I'm now a roughly 350-pound man, give or take a meal from an all-you-can-eat buffet. I want to be more active. I want to start backpacking again, and I want to lose weight. I kind of feel like this podcast might be therapeutic in that sense, so that I can kind of discuss it and talk about it with friends here on the show, with you as the listeners, but also as a way to help keep myself accountable. I'm not trying to be sappy or anything like that with you guys. I'm just trying to be honest, be real with myself, that I've let myself go and kind of say, hey, I need to make a change, and this is one way that I'm going to keep myself accountable. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I really have for the podcast for today. We are working on setting up social media accounts. Right now, there's an Instagram account set up at Rarely Sophisticated. So if you have Instagram, go check us out there. We're going to try to set up X, and all the other social media accounts will eventually get to doing video podcasts, and those will get uploaded to YouTube, things of that nature. If you have any questions or you have ideas for the show, please email us at rarelysophisticated@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you think, unless you're my wife and I already know what she thinks. So love you, babe. Anyways, again, yeah, we're shooting for Monday night release, roughly 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. Central. And if you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast. And be sure to join us next week, where hopefully I can con somebody into being my co-host. So anyways, yeah, thanks for listening. Greatly appreciated. Hope you had a good time. We'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.